Welcome to episode 26 of the Alex Nunemaker Mortgage Podcast for the first week of 2023. For market news, let's talk about what we're going to see in 2023, particularly in terms of interest rates. Where are they going? What will impact them both in the short and long term? Because I know that this is something that's on everybody's mind. So in short, there's definitely going to be a push-pull dynamic as we see rates come down, and I do see rates coming down. And a lot of that pushback is going to come back from the Federal Reserve, who frankly got caught with their pants down last year. And I expect them to be especially stubborn with their expectations and how they communicate with the markets. I think it's been fairly clear that they want to talk tough, keep expectations low. In most interviews that have come out from either Federal Reserve members or Jerome Powell in recent months, the main thing that's coming out is that they are forecasting pain for the economy. Particularly, they want to see the job market starting to soften up, which is just fancy words for saying that they want to see people lose their jobs and they want to see more balance so that wages don't spiral out of control. On the other end, we've also seen inflation reports start to ease up. So the Federal Reserve is talking tough, but at the same time, we are starting to see their main concern, inflation, start to ease up, which is exactly what the mortgage bond market wants to see. So that push-pull dynamic is going to be from what the bond market is seeing actually in these reports versus what the Federal Reserve is communicating. Now, we're due for another CPI report coming out next week on the 12th, which if that can show inflation further receding, it's going to become harder and harder for the Federal Reserve to talk tough because they say they want convincing evidence that inflation is receding. That would make 3 straight inflation reports where they can see it receding. Now, a huge component of these inflation reports is housing costs, and much of this data lags behind 2 or 3 months. So now that we're into 2023, we're going to start to see housing data reported from October, November of 22, which is exactly when we started to see housing soften up a little bit. So the housing component is huge when it comes to inflation data. It makes up about 40% of inflation. So if that starts to filter into the numbers over these next few months and these next few reports, then we're going to start to see some bigger and bigger improvement in interest rates. Now, is it going to come down in a straight line? This is very important. The answer is no. News comes out every day, every hour. Markets react in real time. So we're going to say good days, good hours, bad hours. But overall, I think that we've got some good interest rate days ahead of us this year. In mortgage and marketing, let's talk about your 2023 goals. I bet one of your goals is to see your business grow this year, right? Let's talk about the opportunity for this year. And after particularly dealing with the challenges of 2022, our clients have been bombarded by national news in the early 22 saying that, home prices are out of control, then interest rates are going up. And the national news talks in generalities about housing market. But what I've noticed is that those who talk about their individual markets, neighborhoods, are the ones that thrive. So when the national news talk about home prices, they're talking nationally. They're including markets that are completely different than the DMV and our micro markets. And let's face it, our market is completely different than someone in Utah or Iowa. So let's make sure that our sphere and our communication channels understand that. Let's talk about how resilient the suburbs of DC are in general. And, if your market's Frederick County, you talk about how that's an emerging market. What changes are coming to communities that are going to impact your client's resale value? There's so much to talk about locally, and that's what people want to know about. It doesn't do them any good to hear national news when it doesn't really apply to, say, downtown Frederick. So, as always, I think the best way to communicate these changes and data is through video. Finally, our first quote of the week is, "You must believe that you can. If anyone else can do it, then you can do this as well. Yes, you can." And that comes from Tamara Tillman. Have a great week. And if I can help you or any of your clients, feel free to reach out anytime. They can visit me at homeloanswithalex.com. Have a great week.